I get asked all the time if Jay has a brother because he's so great. And he does. He has two, but they're nothing like him. They can't even handle a conversation with Jay, who is the most masculine guy I have ever known, even though he defies the stereotype of what a typical masculine guy looks like and is. So today we're going to ask Jay where all the masculine men are. I think it might be a secret club, and hopefully Jay's going to give us the secret and the key so we can find them all. Or you guys can find them all. I don't need to. So Jay, what does masculinity actually mean?
So there's tons of arguments about this because one culture or one individual will have a different idea of what masculinity is or means than another. And so then it just seems like masculinity is arbitrary and random and subjective and up to the individual. But nature kind of knows what masculinity is. Like, nature is really good with this stuff, right? It's really good at matching and balancing energies. And if we put all the intellectual arguing aside, most people deep down can feel and recognize masculinity when they encounter it.
Okay.
So if I took a survey of everyone on the planet and I asked them what's more masculine, competition or harmonious cooperation, would we get a pretty universal answer?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, what would it be?
Well, competition is more masculine.
Right. And if I asked them what's more feminine, competition or cooperation?
Cooperation.
Right. So how is it that we can predict that everyone's going to give the same answer?
I mean, because it's kind of universal. Even the women who would argue and say they're competitive, they still tend to be more cooperative, even though they're competitive. I'm super competitive, but I'm more cooperative.
Yeah. If I said what's more masculine, focused direction, like structured focused direction, or casual, boundless, going with the flow?
No, that's super feminine. Yeah. So super focused direction is definitely more masculine.
So again, if I surveyed everyone on the planet from all tribes and cultures and ages and cities and so on, and I asked what's more masculine, structured, focused direction, or boundless, casual, going with the flow, what are they all going to say?
Same thing I did.
Right.
Yeah.
So isn't it interesting? Like, it's a gimme. We can kind of tell what people are going to answer is masculine. It's not that difficult to figure out. And people from all ages and walks of life can somehow pull it off.
Sure. Yeah.
This is because it's kind of primal. It's in us. It's like a universal energy.
Right.
The thing is, since masculinity and femininity are both universal energies, and they're both inside all of us and everything, hence universal.
All right.
That means we can access and use either of them at any time.
True.
So when we say, where are all the masculine men? What are we really saying? Since that masculinity is in everything and everyone everywhere, technically.
Well, we're saying, that it's within.
Where are all the individuals who access masculinity and express masculinity predominantly most of the time?
Yes. Yeah.
But those people will also have femininity in them, regardless.
True.
You could find me the most masculine man on earth. He would still be able to nurture a child or an orphan that he found in the wilderness or something. He's not going to be like, oh, I just can't.
Fair enough.
Right. And that same dude, who may be competitive 90% of the time, will sit down and cooperate with his family or his teammates or whatever to get something done.
Yeah.
So it's not like someone is masculine or feminine in a category. Even the most masculine person we can find will have a bit of femininity in them that they access whenever they need to.
Yes.
So hopefully it's clear that masculinity is a type of energy that gets expressed through certain traits and characteristics that we can recognize and that are inside all of us, but we can tell when an individual embodies more of them more of the time.
Yeah.
When we find someone who embodies more of them more of the time, this is a masculine man.
Right.
When we find someone who embodies very little of them, very little of the time, this is probably a more feminine man or feminine person.
Right. Yeah, because like femininity and masculinity, we're not talking about male or female, because there's lots of people who are the opposite gender and can tap into that side. Me as super feminine, I tap into my masculinity to work. So yeah, gender doesn't matter.
Cool. So do we all agree what masculinity means? It's the expression and embodiment of those masculine traits in a certain proportion.
Yes. All right. So I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and most of them are pretty masculine guys. Not all of them, but most of them. So do women have to find an entrepreneur to find a masculine guy? Because it's what it feels like nowadays.
Well, so that's a good question. So every activity in life can be done in a masculine way or a feminine way, but some activities you'll have way more success with if you tap into your masculine side the majority of the time. And some activities you'll have way more success with if you tap into your feminine side the majority of the time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So can you give me some examples? What's an example of an activity that really needs you to tap into your feminine side to win big?
Connection.
Sure, connecting with others. That's a good one.
Yeah.
How about dance?
Dance, too, is pretty feminine.
Is dance mostly about cooperation,
Yes.
harmony,
Yes.
being in sync?
Yes.
Right. Is it about body care and body wisdom and body nurturing?
Yeah.
Right. Typically, dance is a very feminine leaning activity. And if you want to succeed well in dance, you probably need to be reasonably in touch with your feminine side.
Yes.
If you find some super hyper masculine warrior and he's all like mental focused and intellectual and not too aware of his body or too flexible with his ligaments and stuff, he's just a strong, rigid person. How likely is he to succeed in dance if he doesn't tap into some of his feminine side?
Oh, no, he's less likely.
Right. And what's an activity where you would win big by tapping into your masculine side?
Anything super competitive like sports.
War?
Yes.
Yeah.
Military.
Yeah.
That's probably why I always went for military guys for a long time.
The point is, anyone can succeed at any of these activities, but you're shooting yourself in the foot if you refuse to tap into the clear winning traits.
Okay.
And if the clear winning traits happen to be masculine, you better be tapping into the masculine side of things. If clear winning traits happen to be feminine, you better be tapping into the feminine side of things.
Right.
So what does this mean about entrepreneurs?
Well, this is typically a more masculine side of things. You have to be competitive, aggressive, assertive, disciplined, focused, clear, punctual, and
structured.
Yeah. And
can you just be flowing and whatever? I guess business doesn't matter.
I mean, you can, but your business is probably going to suffer.
Right.
And you're going to struggle.
Right. You won't win.
Yes.
If you ever show me someone who's too feminine or too submissive or too passive or whatever, trying to succeed at business, I'm going to show you someone who's failing.
Yeah. And
it's just not a thing.
No.
Man.
And I deal with a lot of entrepreneurs over the years, and I've seen so many. And the ones that are typically more feminine, male or female, these are the ones that super struggle. These are the ones that have a really, really hard time. And I know because I've been there too myself. So it's not like a diss in any way, but it's a fact.
Yeah. Who's more likely to succeed in business? Someone with a thick skin who can compartmentalize their feelings and get back to work, or someone with a thin skin who's out of commission for 3 days because they got a single rejection?
Yeah. Like that person that gets the one rejection and loses their mind. This is the person that is going to struggle and probably fail.
Yeah. And which one is more feminine and which one is more masculine?
Yeah. The one I said is more feminine.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many men in business. And this is why I stick out so much over there in that world, because I'm not. So
sure. Even something as simple as moving a sales conversation forward or like getting reviews from your clients or
Right.
something takes a masculine focus and drive and ambition. Like,
It's just assertion, like being assertive and going after for what you
ask
want.
for what you want. Yeah.
And as a former people pleaser, recovering people pleaser, this was difficult for me in the beginning. And I remember when I first started cold outreaching to people, and I would cry. I would cry when I was told to F off, or they told me I was a horrible person, or my pitch was too long, or whatever. And I would cry for hours, and I would feel so bad. And I really had a hard time until I developed that thick skin and tapped into the masculine side of myself to get out there and speak up and throw my hat in the ring and really be assertive with the rest of them. So business is super masculine, and you've got to be able to tap into those traits for sure.
Yep. And just like any activity, there are still feminine aspects in it,
Yes.
like everything.
Yes.
Maybe you need to be diplomatic with a client, or sugarcoat something, or phrase something well, or hire or fire someone in a very gentle human resources way, or
Yes.
be sensitive to something, right? Be politically correct. So maybe there's some,
Or just even connecting with other entrepreneurs and collaborators and clients and possible clients. Like you have to be soft too. Yeah.
but what's the percentage? Like, what percentage of traits are masculine in business, and what percentage of traits are feminine to win?
I'd say it should be, I mean, it's only a guesstimate. Like, I don't know, but based on all the people I've studied and all the people I've communicated with and collaborated with, it has to be like 80% masculine and 20% feminine.
It's probably different for everyone in every business, but it's something like that.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
the lion's share masculine and a very small amount feminine.
Yes.
That's how it's going to go.
Yeah.
But in dance, it's going to be different.
It's going to be opposite.
And people who struggle at these activities usually aren't embodying or expressing enough of the necessary traits.
Right.
If I find someone struggling at business, they're probably not disciplined enough, or not focused enough, or not ambitious enough, or not driven enough, or whatever, not thick-skinned enough,
Right.
not structured enough, not systemized enough, something masculine.
Right.
It's very rare that it's like, oh, you're not soft enough.
Yeah.
It can be. It
can be.
But if you show me a bunch of failing, struggling business owners, probably you need to be more soft is not going to do it for them.
What came to mind just now was a cop and a doctor, right? And so I've had communication with both.
Mhm.
And now they're not entrepreneurs, but still, where in both cases they could have been softer in the way they spoke to victims. Or
I agree. But would they have like failed without it?
no.
Right. They will still succeed as cops and doctors,
Yes.
even if they ignore softness entirely.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is what I'm saying. It's not going to be a deal breaker
Not in a masculine role.
for
no.
almost no one.
No. That's true.
Right.
But in dance, if you're masculine and you're frigid and you
You get injured.
Yeah, and you refuse to flow with your partner and communicate energetically with your partner, you're screwed. You will fail.
Yeah. The judges will not like you. It won't perform well.
That's right.
You'll injure your body, like
Yes.
whatever.
Drop
So-
your partner.
Sure. So for them, a lot of them need to be more loose, more flexible, more soft.
Yeah.
And so in that activity, you will lose if you're not feminine enough.
Fair play, yeah.
So I hope this answers your question or makes it clear. Like, there's no rule that says you have to be masculine to succeed at business. There's no rule that says entrepreneurs are all masculine. There's no rules that say you'll only find masculine men in the entrepreneur arena.
Right.
But it's kind of like, if you want to find a bunch of children, you go to a daycare or a park or something. If you want to find a bunch of women, you go to a yoga class or something. Like, it's
Yeah.
like attracts like, and these activities attract a certain type of person. And if you're dealing with a successful entrepreneur, chances are they have a significant amount of masculine traits and qualities to even win or get there.
Yes. Agreed.
And even if you're talking to a woman or a feminine leading person, can pretty much guarantee you that they have decent access to their masculine qualities for the time they're doing business.
Agreed. I just did a webinar with a whole bunch of women. I'd say there were about 1,000 of them in there. And the woman leading it is super strong. Her name is Sage Levine. Super strong, but really soft at the same time. When she talked about connecting, when she talked about her story, she teared up and she got emotional. But when she turned it around and when she went to talk about business and how to succeed, that masculine side just popped right out. And I was just like, yay, because I know that feeling. I know how you have to flip that switch and turn it on, and you're masculine and you're focused and clear and, you know, aggressive and assertive, and, you know what you're doing. And you have to have that in business.
Sure.
It's necessary.
Right. And if I want to succeed at a daycare, doesn't matter how masculine I am or how thick-skinned I am, I'm going to have to soften it up, chill out, connect, read people's energy, and really take care and nurture someone at that daycare if I want to succeed.
Yes.
So I'm going to have to turn on that feminine side.
Right.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to succeed at that particular activity.
So then for the ladies who are out there and want or look like masculine men, and entrepreneurs are a great way to go.
Yeah, you're going to find them there.
That doesn't mean they're all going to be a great fit. And a lot of them will resonate with more of the toxic masculinity. We're going to talk about that later on. But I think it's a good assumption to make that a lot of them are going to be masculine. So entrepreneurs, just like doctors, lawyers, firemen, policemen, they're all going to be more masculine in the typical masculine jobs.
Sure. And most people can figure this out. Like, if I ask anybody, where are you going to find feminine women? They're going to say dance classes, ballet classes, yoga studios, daycares, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's not rocket science to figure out where am I going to find feminine women or where am I going to find masculine men.
Right.
And entrepreneurs is definitely a good starting point.
Well, the reason I ask is because I spend so much time with them that I don't really see a lot of them as masculine. And so I recently had someone ask me, like, where can I find guys like you? And so that's why this question came up. And, I want to help my girls out there. And also I want the men who are masculine and maybe not in that typical job role to think about this and maybe look at how they're behaving and what energies they're putting out. Maybe they want to be more masculine, but they're a nanny or a teacher, and so they're typically having to be nurturing more often.
Yeah, but you still can. Like, yeah. Those traits are inside all of us.
Sure. And really, like these two episodes about femininity and masculinity, for me, that's really the goal of asking all this, is because we can tap into any side. And a lot of men think that they're weak or they're girly if they tap into their femininity, or vice versa for women.
Yeah, so it's the opposite. Anyone who can tap into both sides is crazy powerful.
Agreed.
Like, they're going to nail life.
Yes.
They're going to exceed at business. They're going to exceed at family. They're going to exceed at everything in between.
Yeah.
Because they have access to both and they know when to bring it, when to animate and express either energy. And so they're going to be masterful at it.
Yeah, it's true.
And the people who only understand one side or are confused about the other or don't know when to express which are like impotent. They're not powerful. They fail at so many things because the activity is calling for a certain amount of masculinity or femininity and they don't bring it.
Yeah. Well, you're a great example of this. When we were doing the parody videos, I asked you to imitate girls and wear a tiara and stuff, and you had no problem. Like, and I love that about you. I'm not attracted to feminine men, but the fact that you were willing to, you're so secure in your masculinity and you were willing to put on a tiara and pretend to be a girl to make other people laugh. This is amazing. Like, I don't know Like, I know if we had continued that series, would have been super successful because it was really funny and people loved it. But my main point was how you were so secure in yourself that you didn't care. You didn't question. You didn't like, no way, or no. You're like, all right, whatever, and did it. And that was awesome.
Yeah, well, that's what this situation was calling for.
Yeah.
If I want to succeed at this and make this clip funny, I'm going to need to do this.
Right.
And there's a big buzz about this recently because Cat Williams called out Kevin Hart for wearing a dress when he said he never would or something. And and then there's another Dave Chappelle clip where he points out that a lot of African American individuals are forced or coerced or persuaded to put on a dress for Hollywood. And then there's a whole bunch of more buzz where other people are like, tons of white dudes have done this too. What are you talking about? And on and on and on. And it's just weird because no one cares if a girl wears a guy's overalls or a suit or a baseball cap or something. Like,
right.
If you do something masculine, no one's like, it's a big conspiracy. No. They're making women wear masculine clothes. It's just women are secure in their femininity and they're like, whatever, I'll make it look good.
Right.
So I don't really get the big deal. Like, it all comes back to masculinity and femininity are in all of us permanently. Like, that's it. They're universal energies. And you can express them however you want, whenever you want. And if you are a generally masculine person who once in your 10 or 20 years puts on a tiara for a joke, I don't think it undoes all your masculinity for years to come. Like,
well, I think the people in Hollywood that are having a problem with that are people who are projecting their fears and their insecurity with their masculinity. Because how can a man be a great father without tapping into their femininity? You're not being aggressive with your son. I mean, yeah, you can play aggressive.
Well, you got to discipline them sometimes.
Yeah. But you also hug and kiss your children. You're a wonderful father. You're great with my kids and you're super sweet and kind and you're hard when you need to be. You're firm and disciplined when you have to be. And that's what makes a good parent. So, yeah, I love that you're so secure in your own masculinity that you have no problem tapping into either side. And it's one of the reasons I really love you.
Thanks. But I also know I don't want to do it daily.
Right. Yeah. Well, for me, I don't want to be in my masculine all day long. So I take breaks. I take feminine breaks. Before we filmed, I did yoga and I turned all the lights off and I listened to, soft music and I moved my body in very feminine acting ways so that I could be in the side that feels best for me.
Sure. To balance out all your entrepreneur stuff.
Right.
Great.
Yeah. So in my research, I came across a lot of really crap advice for masculine men. Like one guy was saying, all masculine men are jacked and have to go to the gym and be huge and cloudy, right? Like a big giant cloud. And he also said that masculine men should never joke around. Always be serious and professional, which I find completely ridiculous. Why is there so much crap advice out there for masculine men?
Well, did you take dating advice from your friends back in school?
No.
Really? You and your girlfriends were never like, this works on a guy, or you should try that, or this is what they like, or yada, yada, yada?
Oh, well,
I would be shocked.
Yeah, I thought you meant something different, but yes. Like, okay, I listened to my girlfriends.
Yeah. And so somehow all your girlfriends knew what guys like, right?
Yeah.
So they were all experts on masculinity.
They thought so, yes.
Right. Teenagers who haven't been on the planet more than a blink.
Who've never been out with a masculine guy.
Talking like they know what men like. So we might call that bad advice, right?
Yes.
Okay. But then as you got older, did you start reading dating books, relationship books? Did you start learning from Matthew Hussey or Christiane Northrup or whatever her name is?
Yeah.
Right. And so you're reading their dating advice and they say guys like this and guys like that and similar to the teenagers, right? But different now.
Right. Yeah.
And so did all their advice work?
No.
You magically land the soulmate of your dreams by reading those gurus?
No, not at all.
Okay, and how did their advice compare to some someone like David Data, a polarity master, a yin yang master who's dedicated his life to studying masculine and feminine polarity. You start reading David Data and it's like something different, no?
Right. So we were already together when I started reading David Data, but it helped improve our relationship for sure. Out of all those situations and people whose advice gave me advice, his was the best.
Sure. He's dedicated his life to studying masculine and feminine polarity and balance.
Right.
Like he's a cut above your random relationship guru.
True.
But really, what would happen if David Data met Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad or some other enlightened master? Like someone who really gets life. You know what I mean?
He could learn a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe even learn something about masculine and feminine universal energies.
Yeah.
From an enlightened master who understands the universe.
Right. Yeah.
So they're all giving advice about masculinity, but there's different levels of advice, right? And you can only find advice from certain types of people depending on where you're at. When you're a teenager, you don't magically stumble upon David Data unless you're ready for it.
True. Oh, I had never thought of that. I wasn't ready for David Data.
No, but they all
16.
exist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And you could learn about masculine, feminine polarity and universal energies from Buddha by reading Buddha's writings and lessons and teachings. But most people aren't going to magically stumble onto that as a teenager unless they're ready.
Right.
And to be ready, usually they had to dismiss the advice of other teenagers, get annoyed at the guru's advice, go search out somebody else, find David Data, get annoyed at him and be like, there's got to be deeper than this, and then go study Buddha or something.
Right.
I mean, they might go a different route, but...
Yeah, Tiger Beat wasn't really giving me some great advice. So
I'm saying. But my point is, for everything in life, aren't there levels of advice?
Yes. True.
And don't most people hit on the most basic level of advice first?
Yeah. Well,
I'm a teenager. I'll listen to my teenage friends.
Right. Yeah.
And don't a good chunk of people stop at the relationship guru and never seek deeper than that. They don't find the David Data or Buddha or whatever.
Well, I'll go.
They listen to Matthew Hussey and they're like, okay, that's all I need.
Well, I was going to say, I'll go a step further and say, because they're unaware, they don't even question someone like him because he's got so many followers and he just recently got married. So they'll assume that his advice is the right advice.
Yeah,
and they
it's
don't
gospel.
search further,
right,
or deeper or question it.
Sure. Yeah. So out of all this, which is more common? The David Datas and the Buddhas, or the teenagers and the relationship gurus?
No, the teenagers and the relationship gurus.
Right. So you asked, why is there so much bad advice for men? Well, what's the most common? A bunch of teens and some random experts.
Yeah. Experts.
I'm saying.
Quotes, yeah.
Sure. If you don't have a standard for knowledge, if you don't seek out deeper levels of knowledge, then you'll always be satisfied with the surface level. And if you go one level deeper, you're like, oh, I'm past the surface level, and stop there, what do you get, right? If you take all your wisdom from Matthew Hussey and Andrew Tate, and I don't mean to compare them, but they're both just your average expert, right?
Right.
Like they have some knowledge and they have some hot takes and some bad takes and some good takes and whatever. But they're not David Data. Like they haven't devoted their life to studying masculine, feminine polarity and balance.
Well, this is why you made the graphic.
And they're definitely not Buddha or Jesus or Muhammad.
Right.
Enlightened masters who understand the universe.
Well, this is why you made the graphic, the pyramid.
Yeah.
The levels of knowledge. Because who are we learning from? Who are you learning from? And most people are getting on the internet and Googling and looking at the first entry and never digging deeper into that. And like, I'm sorry, but if somebody is giving you advice, don't be funny. Don't make jokes. Don't laugh. Like, what? Ask yourself why, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, comedians like Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle are super funny and witty and jokey. And I don't know if you want to imply that they're not masculine.
Well, and not only that, but if you're a dude and you're looking for a woman, the one thing we love the most is a man who can make us laugh. You can laugh us out of all of our clothes with 50 million layers. Trust me, because he has. You have. And you make me laugh all day, every day. And I love that. All women love that. So, yeah.
Sure. But hopefully most people can tell that's not good advice.
Hopefully. I would think so, but
you listen to your teenage friends. So,
yeah, that's true. I definitely did. When I was trying to get some dumb skinhead to pay attention to me, my friends told me to throw things at them. And I did, thinking that it might work. It didn't, of course, but like, yeah, I listened to their dumbass advice. So, fair enough.
Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you. You're awesome. You're on fire. This is good stuff. So, I know that it's super masculine to promote your stuff and be businessy, but I'm going to do it anyway and promote my book called Eyes Wide Open, Volume 1. It is the world's first self-help coffee table book, and we are giving it away to you for free in a PDF form. Not only do you get all the awesomeness that's in this book that helped me transform from super fat and miserable, horrible, to kind of fat and lovely and wonderful and awesome and super happy and really feminine. But you also will get our weekly newsletters. We write 3 a week, and I share my journey, and I'm super vulnerable and honest, and you'll learn all about me and Jay in our newsletter. So go to eyeswideopenfree.com and sign up for your copy of the best self-help book in the world. So now I'm going to be super feminine and be quiet and lower my voice and just ask questions. And I might interrupt a little bit though. So I have recently noticed a trend of super stereotypical masculine looking men like Jason Momoa and Chris Hemsworth painting their fingernails like a girl. And I've also noticed a bunch of rappers like Kanye West and 2 Chainz wearing skirts. So how are they able to remain masculine and still paint their nails and wear a skirt?
So isn't this kind of like the tiara thing you were talking about with me when I was imitating those OnlyFans girls?
I mean, maybe. You didn't leave the tiara on all the time and get photographed in magazines. We were doing a video as a joke, like for a role. It was a role. So like if Kanye's doing it for a role, cool. But he's been photographed in front of the paparazzi in a skirt. Same with 2 Chainz. It's not really a role.
Sure, but the principle of having masculine and feminine inside us and animating whichever one we want at any time still applies, no?
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
So you remember our dating checkboxes episode?
Yes.
Investing in people and dating? So that was a game-changing, life-altering principle. Mm-hmm. The checkboxes.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And how there's different checkboxes and they move around and some are bigger and more important. Some are deal breakers and some are fluff checkboxes that don't matter so much and so on.
Right.
So for masculine or feminine people, there's similar checkboxes. So I could put 3 people in front of you. One of them looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like super muscled, right? The Rock kind of thing, no neck.
Poor Rock, yes.
The next one is more like Bruce Lee or Johnny Depp or something. Like he's pretty skinny.
Yeah.
And the last one is like Bad Bunny in a skirt and a breastplate or something. And so all 3 of these people have a different appearance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if all 3 of them have the exact same wealth, women might still find them all masculine. If all 3 of them have the same discipline and focus and drive, they might be found to be more masculine. They might be found to have equal masculinity.
Right. Okay.
But on the appearance checkbox, on the masculine appearance, they have different levels, different checkboxes. One's high on it, one's low on it, one's kind of feminine.
Yes.
But for different women, that won't matter. Like for some women, it will matter. But if you check all the boxes of wealth, power, maybe they're all the same height, they're all the same ambition.
Right.
It's like, for some women, it's like, I don't really care about the look.
Right.
I got like the world's most baller rich dude. Seems masculine enough to me.
Fair play.
But for another woman, that appearance might be a deal breaker. Like, I need a masculine presenting man. I need a masculine appearing man.
Yeah.
And if that's a deal breaker box for her, then she won't be feeling it. Like, they're not going to hook up.
Right.
And for some women, it'll be like, okay, if they dress up like a woman for a role, maybe I can handle it. But if they dress up like that weekly, I can't handle it. Right? It's a checkbox. It's a checkbox.
Okay.
It doesn't automatically make someone masculine or not masculine. Kanye checks a lot of boxes, a lot of masculine boxes. He's focused, he's driven, he's ambitious, he's creative, he's talented, he's good with his hands or good with music or whatever, right?
Right.
These are masculine traits, his jawline or whatever you want to pick. He has a bunch of masculine checkboxes.
Mm-hmm.
So then if he wears a skirt or paints his nails or something, right? It's one checkbox.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could be turned off by it, but
Yes.
a bunch of your girlfriends will be like, honey, you're crazy if you wouldn't, like, that's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Or then maybe all those checkboxes are fine, but you don't like his unstable emotionality or his mental health or whatever, and you want a guy who's more stable, and that's a deal breaker checkbox for you.
Right.
Fine. But then you could find some other rapper who is more emotionally stable, but is even more feminine dressing or something. Like, right? It's all checkboxes. It's all, if you remember the dating checkbox episode, this will make total sense. And the same goes for femininity. There are feminine checkboxes, and some of them are important to you and some are less important to you, and some you'll compromise on and some you won't, and on and on and on.
Right. Yeah. Fair play. So for me personally, I do not find any kind of man who wears nail polish or skirts attractive. It's not my thing. It's not my preference.
Sure. So it's a high checkbox for you.
It is a high checkbox for me.
Fine.
That doesn't mean that I disapprove of males who do this or I am against it in any way. I just don't want to sleep with one who does. And that's my preference. And I'm allowed to have that preference.
Sure.
So yeah. And just like you don't want to sleep with a girl that has an A cup. That's not your preference. You know, we all have a preference, and it's okay. But you have, but it wasn't your preference at the time. So you didn't discriminate. Like she clearly had other check boxes where you were okay with the A.
Yeah, it wasn't a deal breaker checkbox.
Right. And I have dated men who are submissive and not necessarily feminine, but definitely submissive, and had no problem with me telling them what to do and them listening. So that was, again, my checkbox was okay. But, you know, had they added like nail polish and skirts, this probably would have been a deal breaker.
Sure. Well, hopefully this makes sense.
Yes.
Masculinity is like a whole list of checkboxes.
Yes.
And just because you check one or don't check one, or you check one feminine box and not the masculine box, doesn't automatically make you masculine or feminine.
Right.
But it might make you a turnoff for a certain type of person if their checkbox is a deal breaker.
Sure. I adore Bad Bunny. I think he's super talented. I would love to hang out with him. And he's awesome. I adore him. Would I date him? Never. Never in a million years. Because of he doesn't check those masculine looking checkboxes. But he's rich, he's famous, he's super talented, he's creative, and those are things I love in a human being. That's what I love about you. That's what I love about him. But I wouldn't date him. So, yeah. All right. That was good. Thank you. Yay. Thanks. Okay. So, in the beginning of the episode, I talked about your brothers, right? They are completely different from you, right? Because they're not that masculine, which is okay. And I know a lot of women who would love a man who is ambitious and takes the lead, just like you, right? So please help my friends who I know are watching. Where are they hiding, sir?
Okay. Use the word hiding. But let me ask you, how many people on Earth?
8 billion.
Right. And about half of those are
male.
Right.
Roughly.
Yeah. More or less.
Mm-hmm.
So are you seriously suggesting that out of the 4 billion men on the planet, that either very few of them are masculine men, or that the ones that are masculine are hiding?
Okay, but if you think about it this way, 4 billion of them are men, right? 4 billion men, right?
Yeah,
Roughly.
some children.
2 out of 4 are married, gay, or trans or unavailable. Right?
Sure. But stop right there. The world is built by masculine men.
Yes.
So how did all that work get done? If there's only like 5 masculine dudes on the planet.
I didn't say that.
No. But I'm saying that this is the narrative people are putting out.
Right. Okay.
There are so few masculine men.
Yes.
Or they're hiding. But my question to you is, are there really that few? And how did all the world get built?
By masculine
By
men.
giant, so by the most feminine humans on the planet?
No.
Right. It got built by
masculine men.
So what must there be plenty of? How else does the world get built?
Yeah, okay, but then where are they for my friends?
So I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm getting there, but
Okay.
before we address that,
okay,
we got to dismantle the narratives and the beliefs and the mindsets that keep you from finding them.
Okay. Well, them, not me, but yeah.
Whoever.
Yeah. So I'm playing the devil's advocate, and I don't know where they are.
Fine. But do we agree that they exist?
Yes.
Okay. So the world was built by predominantly masculine men, focused, driven, talented men.
Yes.
So there are plenty of them somewhere.
Yes.
And is it likely that they're hiding if they're out there building the world?
No, probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they need to get out there and interact with people and meet people and deliver packages and build things and put in their work and then go home and then do it again.
Right. Fair enough.
So they're out there doing guy things, building the world, whether they're jobbers or entrepreneurs or artists or whatever. So if there's so many of them and they're clearly out there, not hiding, what is the only reason someone wouldn't find them?
Because they're not really looking, or maybe their crap beliefs will keep them away from them.
Yeah. So what do you know about law of attraction?
Well, I know that we attract what we focus on. And the majority of my girlfriends, I'm really sorry, ladies, the majority of them focus on men are shit, men are this, men are that, men are horrible. Oh my God, I can't stand them. I don't want to date anymore, blah, 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 blah.
Good ones are hard to find.
Yes.
They're nowhere around.
Yes, they're
all
all
hiding. Yeah, this is not a healthy narrative.
Right.
It's also not true.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
So there's a Cat Williams bit, famous bit, where the whole punchline is, you got to stop complaining about men, girls. You got to start asking yourself, what is it about your piece that's attracting ain't shits? Again, if you be attracting ain't shits, again, maybe it's you. Like, what is it about you?
I 100% agree with that. Okay. I've heard that bit a long time ago, and it made me laugh my ass off because it's true. Even though back then I didn't really know anything about law of attraction, but it just makes sense. If you are not, if you're attracting crappy people, then you have to really look at yourself. It can't be everyone around you.
Yeah. So if I was a woman and I wanted to attract masculine men, would I go to the park, go to my yoga class, go to the daycare, and then wonder what happened?
No.
Yeah. Because why would I go to any of those places? I'm just going to find a bunch of women and feminine men.
Right.
Where would I go?
I would go, if it was me, I'd go to a networking event.
Yeah. A networking event, a comedy club. You're going to find a ton of witty dudes at a comedy club.
Go to a firehouse and go.
Yeah. Yeah. Sit outside the firehouse.
Yeah.
Eat your lunch there or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I mean.
Okay. So we have a mutual friend who is a super successful woman. She's a millionaire. She has been looking for a successful male, her counterpart.
Yeah, and she goes to networking events and stuff.
She goes to network events. She goes to bars.
So it's definitely deeper than just where you go.
Right.
I was just throwing that out as a starting point.
Okay, my bad.
But once you get there, what is your vibe? Like, what are you attracting? So if you want to attract a highly masculine man, what must you be yourself?
I mean, a highly feminine woman.
Yeah. So if anyone out there is like, I'm not attracting really masculine men, what can I almost guarantee they are not?
Feminine women.
Yeah. And so it sucks to admit this. It hurts to admit, but if you're a successful woman, like you were saying, and goes to networking events, are you sure you're not being focused and disciplined and structured and entrepreneurial and ambitious? Because those are very masculine traits to be. And you can be them during the day, but when you go to meet and attract your masculine dude, I don't know if that's the quality you want to bring to the table.
I think a lot of my friends definitely...
Are you controlling? Are you independent? Like, masculine men want to feel needed. They want to feel
necessary.
Yeah, necessary, required, to have a purpose, to be leaned upon, to be a rescuer, a savior, a helper, a solver, a something. And if you have all your shit together and you don't have a single thing that needs help and you have no rooms for improvement and you're fine how you are and you don't need anyone, then this energy will not attract a masculine man.
That's the energy that most of my girlfriends who complain about this are giving.
Sure. Well, then they get what they get. And even with us, if you animate that kind of energy, it will just push us apart.
Yeah. So we're talking about this as like for single people, but
even
actually this works. This whole conversation is really also for couples, and actually probably better for couples than singles. I just wanted to help my girlfriends out, but you made a really good point. The times where I'm working and I'm in my masculine energy, and then I leave the work area and I stay in that masculine energy, a lot of times
we'll just fight.
A lot of times we will argue. A lot of times we will disagree. It'll be a discussion that turns into a fight.
Sure.
Like but
of course it would.
Right. And it makes total sense.
I'm naturally going to be my masculine self. I'm not going to randomly become feminine just because you feel like it or whatever.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And it makes so much sense.
If I'm practiced at it and habitual at it and it's natural to me, whose masculinity is going to win? Like, who has to change? Like,
no, yours, because you're a masculine. This is your main energy. And so that's me coming in and saying, oh, no, you can't be yourself. You can't be your normal, natural self. I'm going to take over. And this feels weird. This is not good on either side.
Yeah, and you won't win anyways.
No, I can't. It's not my natural energy.
Yeah. If you try to out independent and out success and out control and out dominate a masculine man, and it's not your natural skill or talent, you're going to lose. You guys will separate or he'll win.
Yeah. Or continue to have fights and stuff. And I think this is the problem with our successful friend, is that because she's so used to she's in a male dominated position, then when that time is over, even though she looks super feminine, beautiful, that energy of I don't need you and I'm good.
So she checks off the box of feminine appearance or feminine presentation or feminine voice or feminine look or whatever. Yes. But then she doesn't check off the other feminine boxes of being vulnerable and being emotional and being playful and being giggly and being flowy and going with the flow and harmonious and cooperative and agreeable and all this stuff, right? These are feminine check boxes.
Right.
If you want to be feminine, you should look into some of them.
Agreed.
If you want to attract a masculine man, I wouldn't just settle for, I look feminine, good enough. Like, that's why I said in the beginning, if you want real power, then you are a master of both energies and you know which ones to use when.
Right.
And if you want trouble and failure, then be clueless about them.
Fair play. Yeah. So I highly suggest whoever is watching or listening that you watch and listen to both this episode and the femininity episode from the week before with your partner. And I would love to know what you think.
Yeah, it's a good partner discussion.
Yeah, definitely.
This could bring a lot of couples together and get a lot of them thinking about, who we are and what we want to express and how much and how often and all this kind of stuff.
And what
huge eye opener.
Agreed. And are you guys on the same page about who is more masculine and who is more feminine? Are you on the same page with what you expect from your partner, their roles, their energy, their behavior, their appearance?
And especially timing.
Yeah, and their timing, like the pace and direction.
Like while I'm working on the business, I need to be more masculine. While I'm getting our kids ready for school, maybe not.
Right.
Like,
yes.
I don't know. Or maybe I do need to be masculine to get them ready for school because it's like herding cats.
Right.
Right? Like who knows? it's different for everybody, every individual and every couple. And also, like I said, it matters in business as well. If your business is failing, chances are you are checking some of the wrong boxes at the wrong time, and it will hurt your sales and hurt your staff and hurt everything.
Agreed. And to anyone who's feminine, who's watching and who is struggling with some of this stuff in business wise or your job or relationship, it's okay to be struggling, but like I really hope that you learn that being masculine isn't about being male. And so this was very confusing for me in the beginning. Like, okay, so my masculinity means I'm kind of a boy?
No, it's about check boxes and traits.
Right. Yeah.
Energy, expressing energy and embodying energy.
Yes. And so I'm a super competitive person, but that's really a dormant part of my personality until you put me in a game or I get in the pool or I'm talking about business or marketing. Then that side comes out. And when I'm around other men other than you, I don't check it. I like let the masculinity go because I'm not trying to impress these men. I'm not trying to date them. I'm not trying to do anything except communicate. Right. And so with you, I tend to pull it back a little bit more when we talk about business and when I'm being competitive as well.
Just ask for help.
Yeah. And so
it works better.
I was just going to say that when I ask you for help, it's instant.
Life is good.
Yeah. And it's just easier.
Ask a masculine man for help. It's going to go well.
Yeah. And, if you're a masculine man and you want to tap into your feminine a little bit, this is going to impress your female, your woman, your feminine partner more than you think. And again, it's not about being a girly man. It's about being considerate. And so in the beginning of the episode, I said that you are the most masculine man I've ever met. You are a leader. You are clear and focused and driven. And you are also considerate and kind and generous and loving and nurturing. So to me, being the most masculine doesn't mean that you're all the masculine traits only. It's actually what makes you the most masculine to me is that you are a perfect balance of both. You are the most considerate person I've ever known in my entire life. So to me, that's like pretty awesome. And I think more masculine men could really do well by tapping into that. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, basically the two energies are meant to play together and complement each other and work well together.
Yeah.
And if we have both of them inside us, we should be using both of them at the correct times to balance each other. And if you do that, you get the healthiest expression of masculine or the healthiest expression of feminine, and it's really nice.
Agreed.
So that's what I aim for.
You do a great job.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the conversation. As always, I had such a great time. I think we're on like episode 8 or 9 that just feel so smooth and flow like a river for me. And that's just the best. I love it. I live for this. We could literally keep talking for hours, but I'm hot and I need something to drink. So thank you for your time and for helping all of us. And we all really appreciate you. And I love you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Love you.
Yay. Okay, so I have one final question. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our amazing and wonderful audience?
Yes. Once you master masculinity and femininity and you can express either energy when called for, that's when you're truly free. That's when you're truly empowered. That's when you're completely comfortable. If a situation calls for more discipline and focus, you bring it. If a situation calls for more nurturing and cooperation, you bring it. Once you get the hang of this, you can intentionally express any energy you want, whenever you want, without caring what other people think. You can check a masculine box or a feminine box. You can present as masculine or present as feminine in any moment, and you won't care what other people think because you know the truth. You know both energies. You know who you are. You are secure in yourself. And by watching this episode today, you have already taken your first step towards that mastery. You got this. I believe in you.
And that's why our book and this podcast are called Eyes Wide Open. After today, you'll understand masculinity better. And so now you can go here and check out this video called Society Failed Men, Why Men Struggle, to help you understand masculinity even better and to help you keep your eyes wide open.
Keep rising.